What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counter Punch Boxing News, and I got some new news concerning the body snatcher, Dillian White. The salary was revealed on how much Barry, or should I say Eddie Hearn, offered Dillian White to fight Joshua, and it was about 4 million pounds. So the question is that enough? Is that enough for someone like Dillian White to get back in the ring with Anthony Joshua? Because you guys remember that Anthony Joshua knocked him out cold already, but he did hurt Joshua in that bout as also with that devastating left hook, that special punch that he has. I call it the Rising Hammer Jr. The Rising Hammer Sr. belonged to Joe Frazier. So he has the Rising Hammer Jr., and that Rising Hammer did put some hurt to Anthony Joshua and definitely shook him up and, rocked him a bit, and Dillian White is a fighter that he has, if it's anyone that's done enough to make an argument to want more money would be Dillian White. The only problem is when you compare Dillian White to other fighters that Joshua has fought, those guys were champions. You know what I'm saying? Like Charles Martin was a champion. He got 8 million. Okay. Joseph Parker was a champion, and he got a nice little chunk after the percentage. You know what I mean? Which I think was around 8 or 9 million. I think because it was broken up in his split was around that amount. He got a nice chunk too. But Dillian White doesn't really come with anything but his WBC silver. Now, I'm going to come into a discussion later on about the WBC silver and what it really means, but I'm not going to do that right now. I think Dillian White, whatever they agree to offer him, he should take it after the fact, because if he says no, I don't see Eddie coming back. And a lot of people saying, "Oh man, Anthony Joshua's back is against the wall, and Eddie Hearn, they're in a position they're in a tight position to make a fight." I don't think that at all. I think they have an obligation to keep a certain status quo. Now, if you mean that, that's okay. You know what I mean? I'll agree with you on that. I can understand the argument totally with that because, they've been fighting top-notch guys. Povetkin was a top-notch contender, a gold Olympian. You know what I mean? That's the guy that Deontay Wilder was supposed to fight years ago, right? And we all know what kind of happened in that situation. But he ended up not fighting him, right? So, yeah, I think that Dillian White should take the next offer. Since Eddie works for him too, I think Eddie's going to try the best possible situation. But, from him going to PBC, I've already told you guys how I felt about that because that's his other alternative to go that route. Because I seen a video by Bruce fucking Vane today. And if that is true, what Al Heyman's going to do, I would hate to see that shit too. I'm going to say that. But, we don't know what the intention of Al Heyman really, if he ever gets his teeth into Dillian White. He might use Dillian White just for shits and giggles. He might throw him in there with someone like Ortiz quick. That's what I would think. Because a fight like that would be easier to make at that point. You know what I mean? That's why I would bring that up. But, but if he does, but here's the deal. If he gets a fight with Luis Ortiz and beats him, and then they drag on a potential fight between him and Dominique Brazil, nothing will be made. No kind of progress will be made whatsoever in that situation. You know what I mean? He'll be sitting there like Dominique Brazil, waiting for his shot for the longest with the same title, and or the same, at the same level, and he's not, he beat the boogeyman, and Deontay constantly keeps ducking him, he'll be, he'll probably be taking purses for less money, then he'll be unhappy and all this, right? But I don't know. 4 million pounds. I don't know. That's kind of lowballing, but not really, because I mean he's a popular fighter. He's got his own following. He sells. He has a good style for the fans, but you know you gotta kind of weigh it. It's everybody's world, and because it's like you don't know. He doesn't really have too much to come with, though. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, him going to PBC, that could have been just a bargaining tool. I get that. But, he might have been serious like, hey, I want to fight one of these guys, you know? Because I think what it is, Dillian White's expectations after he knocked out Chisora was just going to be, hey, you know what? Let me, Deontay Wilder don't want to fight you. And whatever, you know what I mean? That fight's not gonna happen. So I'm the shoe in. But it turns out like no, he's still other obligations more than you. And I think that pissed off Dillian White. No fighter that's done what he's done in the sport of boxing wants to hear that someone else is ahead of you. They don't want to hear that shit. Neither is Dillian White. So that's why Dillian White's over here, or he was trying to, have talks with Al Heyman and PBC and Timothy Smith and all these cats, right? So, but 4 million, I don't know. I think it could be a little better, which it will, That's more than likely the fight you're going to see or whatnot. But because here's the thing about Anthony Joshua. They don't handle their business like PBC. They want the best possible fight at the time. And since Anthony Joshua was just the shit in the UK, okay, they would want to see a fight for the people in the UK. If they can't get Fury and Fury is wrapped up with Deontay or whatever, which I doubt, honestly. The WBC, they don't really run stuff according to Fury. What can they do at the end of the day? That's a belt he never had anyway, that he should have. So really, who cares? But I don't know. I mean, it's really how bad does Dillian White want it? Let's look at it that way. Obviously you don't want it that bad if you don't want to take 4 million when they offered you for the fight. And then after that, you go run off and say, oh, well, he ain't want to fight Deontay Wilder, talking about a story that don't even should involve him. But it is, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But, you didn't want to fight a lot of fighters. You didn't want to take Deontay's proposal to get you to fight someone else in order to fight him. We could say that, right? It's like it basically is up to these fighters on how bad they really want something. It's nothing wrong with knowing your worth, but then it's like, what value you have on your worth. What does that mean? Does it mean, oh, I'm going to give you $10 million? No. You know what I mean? Why would they give Dillian White $10 million or whatever? When the champions, okay, didn't get that amount of money, including Parker. That wouldn't be right. So if he's thinking that, he's delusional on that for that reason. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.